So I'm saying, like, if you see physical computer, a lot of components will be there. Okay. If you see motherboard, lot of electrical components connected together. Okay. So if you want to just see for somebody who have not seen motherboard yet. Okay. So if you see computer motherboard, it will be like this. Okay. Physically, lot of components connected together. Then power supply will enter. So then finally, it will operating system will be displayed on the monitor. Okay. And if you see in virtual machine, physical server with ESXi operating system on top of it, and I'm saying I'm just creating a folder. Yeah, virtual machine. So just a folder and RAM. Let's say 4 GB RAM, 2 CPU, and C:40 GB. Specifications from the physical server will be splitted. Like if we have 100 GB RAM, it's like this. Physical resources, okay, and will be splitted into virtual resources. This is a virtual machine. So if you see physical computer motherboard, lot of components are there. Virtual machine, I'm just saying folder, and RAM, CPU, and hard disk from the physical server will be working as a exactly like a physical computer. How come just a folder will act like a physical computer? What about all the hardware components that we see on the motherboard? Where are all these components? Okay. So we'll try to understand the background mechanism of virtual machine. What happens when we create a virtual machine, how it makes a complete virtual machine just from a folder, and it works like a physical computer. Okay. So we'll see. We'll understand the computer. This is 1 TB local hard disk. This is the same one, 1 TB I have written here, so that. Okay. So now, so virtual machine. Software computer. Technically, it's called a set of what? Set of files. So now we might have experienced many files as of now. Your resume also, okay? Dot .doc will be there. If you capture a picture, let's say mypic.jpg, a movie, okay? Song, okay? MP3. So different files, notepad, right? Text. Multiple files as of now we have experienced in our day-to-day life. If you see .doc, okay, Word document, you can present the data in the form of text, and images also you can paste. JPEG, only picture content, okay, and MP4, audio plus video, MP3, only audio, text, only text. Okay. So this is called, after the dot, it's called extension. It's called file extension or extension. This is important, and this you can change anytime. You can change from my resume to, let's say, VMware resume anytime, not a problem. Name is not a problem at all. Only extension is very important. The extension represents what kind of data is presented inside the file. So if you change from DOC to JPEG forcefully, manually, if you change the extension, when you try to open this file, resume file, it will not open. It shows corrupted. Okay, we cannot understand that language because the content inside was text. You are trying to open with the JPEG, so it cannot be converted on its own. If you want to convert, we have to use some professional converting tools. how to convert from JPEG to DOC, whatever it is. Manually, if you just change the extension, doesn't make the data compatible as it is. So that means the extension represents what kind of data is presented inside the file. So these are the files in our day-to-day job, at least day-to-day life, you might have experienced. Okay. So virtual machine is also a set of files like that, not these files, some different files. Okay, now we have some idea about what is a file. So virtual machine is also a set of files like that. So what are those files? Okay, we will see them. Very, very important. We'll write all together and then we'll discuss. So virtual machine will be set of all these files. So first one is called virtual machine configuration file. This is responsible for power on, power off. This will be VMX is the virtual machine configuration file. Blindly, we can say it is equivalent to motherboard of a physical computer. .vmx file. You can open with Notepad and see also. Notepad or WordPad we can open and see it's a human readable English language only. You can open this file and see. You can open with Notepad and you can see the content. It's written in just English language. If someone knows like computer components, what are these RAM, CPU, like okay, so USB drive. If you know these basics, if you open this file, you can understand what are the lines refers to. Some 50 to 60 lines of code. It's not code also, it's just a human readable language only. So that represents the computer hardware. All the components of physical computer will be written in just in the form of lines. Okay. So we'll open and see how it looks like. And it is equivalent to motherboard. If you remove motherboard from your computer, if it has only RAM, CPU and hard disk, it will not work, right? It needs motherboard, physical computer. Here also the same. If you don't have EMX file, it's of no use. Even if you have all other, it's like you have external hard disk without uh, external hard disk without computer. Even if you have data in it, you can't see it. So, fine. VMX file is very important file. It's called virtual machine configuration file. Next one, virtual machine hard disk file. Okay. It's called descriptor file also. Okay. Normally, if you see any hard disk, even your pen drive, memory card, any storage device, okay. If you see internal hard disk or external hard disk, we know that data will be written in the form of ones and zeros. Okay. So you know that data will be written in the form of ones and zeros like this in any memory device. Okay, data will be written like this in the hard disk. And the first portion, it will be having data called metadata. It's a very easy example to understand this is your textbook. Your textbook will have first page will have index. Okay, so it will topic name and which page it is stored, and second topic page number, third topic page number. Index will be there. If you go to that page, let's say topic 1 and page number 5. If you go to page number 5, you will have full data, full information about that particular topic, right? in textbook. First page will have index, and in below that, like all the under that index page, actual page numbers will have the full content of the data. Same here also, it's like index only. Let's say you copied 1 GB of movie file inside it. So the index will have first portion, second portion, third portion. So it will have pointers to the actual data like this. Index, actual data. Actual data is presented here, index is presented here. Here also exactly the same. VMDK is just an index file. That's why it's called descriptor file. There will be no actual data here. Even if you have one hard disk of 40 GB, there will be two files, VMDK and flat.vmdk. Okay, one hard disk will have two files, one VMDK and one flat.vmdk. VMDK is the descriptor file. Okay, it will have index of the data. Flat.vmdk will have actual data. It will have it will have the data. First file it will have only index of the information. Flat.vmdk will have actual data. Okay. Understood? Every hard disk will have two files, one VMDK and one flat.vmdk. VMDK will have only descriptor file. Flat.vmdk will have actual data. Okay. Yeah. NVRAM. It's called BIOS file. Basic input output system file. So normally if you power on a computer, blank screen window will come, and after that it will say starting Windows. After some time loading profile, and finally it will ask for password. You enter the correct password, it will show you the desktop. Okay, it will log in and it will show you the Windows desktop. Okay, normally all that instructions on a physical computer. Okay, physical computer motherboard, if you have heard, there will be one more component called ROM, read only memory. If anyone has aware, okay, read only memory, it will have standard instructions how to boot a computer. If you power on a computer, how to boot the operating system from the hard disk. So that ROM component will have that instructions how to boot a particular computer. Okay, ROM will have that information. So here BIOS NVRAM file will have that instruction how to boot a computer. Okay, NVRAM file will have that information. Okay, it helps only to boot the computer. Okay, NVRAM file. Even if it is deleted, nothing will happen. There will be one common interview question. I have a virtual machine running. It's in production. Nothing means power on means running. Okay, and when I delete NVRAM, what will happen? Nothing will happen. When you power on for the next time, it will automatically create. It will have only the boot instructions. Computer is already running. There is no use of NVRAM file now. It is needed only when you are powering on a computer. When you power on next time, even if it is deleted, it will automatically recreate. Okay, I'll give you the question and answer later. But anyway, remember that. If you delete NVRAM, nothing will happen. That's common interview question now. Okay, so nothing will happen if it is running already, no problem. But all other files, it will have impact. If you delete any of the file, VM will not function properly. Next, .vswp file. It's called virtual memory file. We have a separate topic, 30 minutes topic about this swap file later. We will discuss later. Okay, it's called during memory management techniques. We will discuss this file. .vswp. It's called swap file. We'll have like a complete information about why it will be used, when it will be used, and all later. VMSD, again same, there is 1 hour topic called snapshot. We will discuss during the snapshot topic completely about VMSD. Okay, so what is snapshot, why we create, okay, how long we use it, so the things we'll discuss later. And .log file. Now you have powered on this virtual machine until you power off next time. Maybe you power off for 1 minute after 1 minute, after 1 hour, or 1 day, 1 week, or 1 year, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Power on to next power off. ఒకసారి ఆన్ చేసినప్పటి నుంచి నెక్స్ట్ టైం ఎప్పుడైనా ఆఫ్ చేసుకున్నాం, 1 అవర్లో చేసుకో లేదా 1 ఇయర్ తర్వాత అయినా ఆఫ్ చేయి, డజంట్ మ్యాటర్. పవర్ ఆన్ టు పవర్ ఆఫ్, one log file will be created, and it will have the information about the communication between ESXi and the virtual machine. Okay, it will have information about the communication between ESXi and the virtual machine. Whatever the instructions that are passing from ESXi to the virtual machine, when the VM is powered on here, RAM, CPU, hard disk instructions will be going from here to here. All that instructions will be written in this log file. Okay, and for some reason yesterday it is rebooted. Let's say in the midnight around 2 a.m. it was rebooted, and now today morning customer will ask you, my machine was rebooted in the night, can you check what happened at that time? At that moment, to understand why it was rebooted, you need to check this log file. Okay, this also we can open with Notepad and see. It's also readable English only. Only these two files you can open with Notepad and see. Rest all files you can't open. Okay, only VMX file and .log file you can open and see from the Notepad or WordPad. It's a readable language. The rest all the files we can't open. Let's say you have a memory drive, pen drive. There is a movie in it. If you want to see, you have to connect to a computer directly. We can't see, right? The same way, if you have flat.vmdk also, you cannot see. You have to attach it to a virtual machine. Then only you can see. Okay, like that. Rest all the files are the same way. We cannot directly open except this VMX and log file. Log file is one power on to next power off. One log file will be created. Okay, and it will have whatever the communication that is happening from the host to the VM will be stored in this log file. Let's say you powered on, after 1 hour you have powered it off, one log file is generated. After again, if you power on again second time, it will create VMware.log file, and old one will become VMware1.log. Okay, previous one will become VMware1.log. Now which is the latest file? VMware.log or VMware1.log? VMware.log is the latest file. Okay, and third time if you power it off and power on again, one more VMware.log file will create, and this will become 1. First one will become 2. Now which is latest and which is old?
VMware log is latest. VMware 2 is the old one.
Old one. Okay. So VMware.log is always the latest file. 1.log previous file. 2 previous to previous. 3 previous to previous to previous. Okay. So maximum it will be 7 log files. It will be there. Seven means 0 to 6. Total 7 files will be there. Okay. Clear? Now, again, 8th time if you power on, VMware.log will be created. This will become what number? Already 0 to 7, 6 are there. Again, we are powering on, power off and powering on. So VMware.log file will be created, and that will be last latest one, and previous one will become previous VMware.1. Okay, total 7. Yeah. So top to bottom one వెళ్తున్నాం. So this will become 2. Okay. This one will become 5, right? It was 5. It was like this. It will become, okay, 6. 4 will become 5 here now. Okay. And this previous 6, it was 6, right? So it will be deleted permanently. Very first one will be deleted permanently. Seventh one will be automatically deleted. 7, not 7th, 8th one. 7 ikkade ఉంటుంది. 6 అనేది 7 అవుతుంది. 0 to 6 అంటే 7 ఉంటుంది. So 8th one will be automatically and permanently will be deleted. లేదు. It's not possible. And it's not possible to get it back. And practically our data తో ఎప్పుడు యూజ్ ఉండదు. We'll see like why there will be no use of that deleted 7th, 8th one. So this one is the latest one. If you want to understand what happened at particular point of time, if you want to see the logs, always we see the latest one, VMware.log file. Latest log file. And even if you want to understand, even let's say analyze some more logs to understand clearly what happened even before reboot, previous reboot, we'll check this one. Okay, practically in day-to-day life, maximum if you want to understand some particular failure or reason for failure, 2 are more than enough. 95% cases, 2 files are more than enough. For some reason, if you want to understand even before what happened, this one is more than enough. Okay, nobody will go for up to 8th one ever. Maximum 2 to 3 log files are more than enough. That's why VMware has given maximum 7 files, just even including buffer space, maximum 7 files they have allocated. 8th one is of no use at all. Okay, even you do, if you read that, it will be there, data will be there. Practically it's of no use. If you want to understand what happened at particular point of time, last 2 or 3 files will give you the exact reason. There is no meaning of keeping that files anymore. Fine. It's like you still store your like 10th class textbook. You are already clear, like even whatever the degree you have, like storing of 10th class book, what will you do? It's of no use for you, right? So like that. Okay, practically there will be no use with that 8th file. That's why VMware has designed to delete it permanently, and it is not possible to bring it back also. Okay, even interviewer if asked like, is that possible to get it back? It's not possible. Okay, so and practically it is not needed also. That's why they made it. Okay, all these files .vmx, nvram, remember, forget these 2 files, vmx file, nvram file, vswp, vmsd, vmware, all VMware log files all together, it will be not even 1 or it will be not even 5 MB. It will be less than that much space only. MBs itself. Okay. VSWP file will take extra space. Okay. VSWP file. This will take extra space that we will discuss later. Except this VSWP and VMDK file, rest all will take. Okay, let's say 5 MB together maximum. Okay, even not even 5 MB, it will be less than that only. VMX file will be I think 4 KB, 4 or 5, maximum 5 KB. This will be 1 KB NVRAM. So like that only. VMDK, how much space? How much will be for this virtual machine? So VMDK and flat dot VMDK will be like, yeah, we'll say like together it will be equivalent to hard disk space of the virtual machine. 100 GB ఇస్తే ఈ రెండు కలిపి 100 GB ఉంటాయి. 200 GB ఇస్తే these 2 files VMDK and flat dot VMDK together makes 200 GB. This file will be equal to hard disk space. These are hard disk files, right? Okay, except that Except that VMDK and flat.vmdk, rest all become 5 MB. Again VSWP, except VSWP. This will be equal to amount of RAM. RAM ikkada 4 GB ఇచ్చాం కదా. Dot VSWP will be 4 GB. So that logic we will understand later. Okay. As of now, remember equal to RAM. Okay. And VMDK flat.vmdk together it makes hard disk capacity of that VM. Clear? And when we create a virtual machine, all these files will be automatically created inside the local hard disk of the ESXi. Here, a folder will be created. Let's say we have created a virtual machine called VM45. Here, inside the local hard disk, a folder with a name called VM45 will be created automatically. Inside that folder, all these files will be stored. VM45.vmx, VM45.vmdk, flat.vmdk, nvram. I'll write few files here for now. VM45.vmx, VM45.vmdk, and VM45.nvram. What about the log file name here? VMware.log. So if you see all other files, are with VM name. If you notice here, all other files are with VM name except log files. Log files are VMware. That means if you create a virtual machine VM45, all other files will be VMX, VM45.vmdk, 45 minus flat.vmdk, VM45.nvram, VM45.pswp, VM45.vmsd, and VMware.log. It will be like this. Okay. All these files will be stored inside the local hard disk of the ESXi. How much space will it occupy? That entire folder. How much space this folder will occupy now?
Total 40 GB.
This virtual machine is 40 GB hard disk. 40 GB plus 5 MB. So just 40 GB. So it will be equivalent to hard disk size of the virtual machine. That's it. This folder will occupy hard disk space of this virtual machine. Entire virtual machine will occupy almost equivalent to that hard disk file only. That means out of 1000 GB, it will occupy 40 GB. Remaining 960 GB will be available in this local hard disk. Okay, understood? So we ignore this 5 MB, so we'll consider hard disk space. Any questions or confusion? And let's say if you create a name called VM46, VM name, this was VM45, all these files will be created. And now you tell me, when I create a virtual machine name called VM46, what will be the file names? What will be the file name? Will it be 45? 46. Like we can give whatever the name it is. Just I'm giving some example. And log file, is it 46 or VMware.log? So every virtual machine, the log file will be VMware.log, but remaining files will be with its own name. Whatever the name that we enter, that name will be there. Clear? These all files. These are files. That means software files only. Only on the screen we can see. Right? File ante man ippudu resume kuda file. You can't touch directly with hand, right? Once you print, you can touch. but otherwise only on the screen you can manage, laptop screen. Same here also, these files are all only you can manage on the screen. We cannot physically touch them. But if you want to see the content, you can see the content of VMX
CMS.
and log, only two. Rest all the files we can't see. Okay, fine. Any question as of now? From remote? Everybody clear? Even if it is silly question, like silly that you got in your mind, you might be thinking it's very silly, you can still ask. Nothing is silly until you don't know it. That's not a silly thing. Okay. No need to worry about others. You can ask. At least you can type. Even if you are not able to speak, you can type. It's very important. Common. There will be 2 to 3 interview questions from this page itself. What is a virtual machine? Or when you create a virtual machine, what are the files that it will be created? .vmx, you have to just answer in 1 or 2 lines. .vmx is a configuration file. VMDK is a hard disk descriptor file. Flat.vmdk will have actual data. NVRAM will have BIOS information, BIOS file. Okay. .vswp virtual memory file. .vmsd snapshot file. .log file. Just like this, you can explain. You don't need to explain clearly what we discussed. Okay, just in 1 or 2 lines, you can just briefly about each extension file, each file extension, you can just tell them in one single line. And second question, what happens if when a virtual machine is running, if I delete NVRAM file, what will happen?
Nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. When you power on next time, it will automatically create it. Fine. Yes, when we reboot also, it will create one log file. Okay, VMDK. Yeah, so Venkat, like you need to read that log file, VMware latest log file, you need to open with a notepad and see that analysis. I'm telling as of now, you can find the reason here. How to find it? I'll just show you how to open it. I'll give you the tips during the troubleshooting step. There will be 2 days, 3 troubleshooting. And during VM troubleshooting topic, I'll explain you about how to understand who rebooted, for what reason it was rebooted. I'll show you now how to open that log file at least. Good question. Yeah, when we reboot, it will create a new log file about storage hard disk. Okay. Okay. So when you create a virtual machine and 40 GB allocated, right? This 40 GB hard disk, there will be 2 files, one VMDK and flat.vmdk. Every hard disk on a virtual machine will have 2 hard disk files. If you have 2 hard disks, 2 VMDK and 2 flat.vmdks will be there. Hard disk 1 and hard disk 2. Okay. So 1.vmdk underscore 2.vmdk will be there. Okay. Two VMDKs, 2 flat.vmdks. First VMDK, it will have index of the data that we store inside that hard disk. ఆ హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో ఏం డేటా అయితే మనం ప్లేస్ చేస్తామో దాని ఇండెక్స్ మాత్రమే VMDKలో ఉంటుంది. ఇండెక్స్ మాత్రమే ఒక సపరేట్ ఫైల్, యాక్చువల్ డేటా ఇంకొక సపరేట్ ఫైల్లో ఉంటుంది. flat.vmdkలో యాక్చువల్ డేటా ఉంటుంది. Let's say you copied 1 GB of movie inside this virtual machine. That movie data will be presented in flat.vmdk. A flat.vmdk లో data ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉంది. So the data where we have copied inside the flat.vmdk, it will be there in the vmdk. flat.vmdk లో డేటా ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉంది, ఆ 1 GB అనేది ఎక్కడెక్కడ స్ప్రెడ్ అయింది అనే ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ vmdk లో ఉంటుంది. ఇండెక్స్ ఫైల్, టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ ఇండెక్స్ ఫైల్ అండ్ యాక్చువల్ పేజెస్, full content about the topic. Is it clear, Sasikala? If you are still confused, I can explain in local language if need. Fine. Thanks. Yeah, Nana, like, yeah, correct. It will have the data, but the file is .vmdk. If you open, let's say you have a pen drive and you have a resume in it. You're saying like I can read the data from .doc file, ల్యాప్టాప్లో నార్మల్గా డిఓసి ఫైల్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తే నువ్వు రీడ్ చేస్తావు, యువర్ రెజ్యూమ్లో ఏమేమి ఉందని చూడొచ్చు. బట్ పెన్ డ్రైవ్లో ఉందా రెజ్యూమ్, డైరెక్ట్గా ఎలా చూస్తాం? ఓన్లీ పెన్ డ్రైవ్ ఉంది నీ దగ్గర, ల్యాప్టాప్ లేదు, ఓన్లీ పెన్ డ్రైవ్లో నీ రెజ్యూమ్ ఉంది. దాంట్లో ఫార్మాట్ డాట్ డిఓసి అనే ఉంది, లేదా మూవీ ఉంది MP4 అనే ఉంది. MP4 నువ్వు ఓపెన్ చేసి చూడగలవు, కానీ పెన్ డ్రైవ్ మాత్రమే ఉంది, చూడలేం కదా. ఇక్కడ కూడా అదే సేమ్ ఎగ్జామ్. .vmdk ఉంది ఈక్వల్ టు యువర్ పెన్ డ్రైవ్. దాంట్లోంచి కంటెంట్ చూడాలంటే డైరెక్ట్గా చూడలేము, ఏదో ఒక వర్చువల్ మెషిన్కి అటాచ్ చేయాలి. VMDK అయితే వర్చువల్ మెషిన్కి అటాచ్ చేయాలి. ఓకే జ్ఞానశేఖర్, ఇస్ ఇట్ క్లియర్? Okay. Any other questions before we go and create a virtual machine and verify all these files? Yes. Okay, so once you connect to the vCenter, today we will create one virtual machine and verify all the files. Okay, so we'll create a virtual machine and we'll verify here. Okay, there is no abbreviation like this, it's just a virtual machine descriptor file. No, it's not like that. Even there are virtual machines with one CPU also. If you need better performance, you will add more CPUs. There is no specific reason. Yes, depend. If you need more performance, better performance on that VM, you will add more CPUs. Okay, laptop lo kuda andi neeku 1GB, 4GB, 16GB RAM enduku teeskuntunnam, better performance kaవాలి. Okay, 16GB will buy. If your work is very less, like 4GB is also enough. Okay, fine. For better performance, we add more CPU and more memory. Okay, so now we are going to create a virtual machine and we will verify all these files. Okay. So on the ESX machine, right click, new virtual machine. There are multiple ways to create a virtual machine. We will discuss all of them clearly later. Even this method also, we will clearly explain every step later, but I'll go a bit fast now because we want to create a virtual machine. The ways to create a virtual machine, we'll discuss later. Okay. PM45. Select the ESX machine, compatibility is green. Place wherever you have more free space. I have more free space here. What compatibility? So here, if we will discuss again later what is this compatibility. Okay. So here it is important what OS you need. Customer will inform what OS you need, Windows, Linux, whatever it is. If it is Windows, from the day Windows was born, from MS-DOS until Windows Server 2019 also, it will 22 also it will support. So this was ESXi 6.7, that's why it's showing until 2016, and later also it is saying, later also it's compatible. Okay, if you have 7.0, it will show 2022 also. Okay, depends. If it is Linux, select Linux. So I'll explain all those options later. Just quickly, I'll create a virtual machine 2012. So I'm not installing OS here. I'm preparing a machine to install this OS. ఈ ఓఎస్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయడానికి ఒక కంప్యూటర్ కావాలి కదా, దాని స్పెసిఫికేషన్స్తో ఒక మెషిన్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది. ఈ ఓఎస్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయట్లేదు ఇక్కడ. ఓకే, ఐఎమ్ క్రియేటింగ్ ఎ వర్చువల్ మెషిన్ టు ఇన్స్టాల్ దిస్ ఓఎస్ ప్రాపర్లీ. Now, how many CPUs? I want 2 CPUs, 4 GB RAM, 5 GB hard disk is enough for now. I'm not going to. So, all the virtual hardware components, it will show here. RAM, CPU, virtual hard disk, virtual network adapter, virtual CD-RAM, everything. These are all virtual hardware component. Next, and finish. It created a virtual machine 45. Just completed. Create a virtual machine. Task is completed successfully. So VM45 is created. During this process, VM creation process, anywhere, did we touch these files?
No.
You don't need to worry about these files. This will be automatically created in the ESXi local hard disk. It automatically create outai. You don't need to worry about them. It's a 100% stable, that much stable. Okay, automatically they would have created. You don't need to verify. But the first time, right? We are doing it for the first time. Let's check them. Okay. Select data stores app. This is the hard disk location where we have stored this virtual machine. VM45. Right click on it, browse files. Here there are multiple folders. That means multiple VMs are there. Here is the one which we wanted, 45. Select it. Here you can see .vmdk, vmsd, vmx. Hlog you can ignore, that refers to vSphere version. Okay, we don't have any specific any work with this hlog file. You can ignore. Only 3 files are created, .vmdk, vmsd and vmx. If you see this one, this one, this one, only 3 files you can see. What about all other files? Okay. So they will be created when we power on the virtual machine automatically. Yeah, that's where we are checking, Barisha. Once you create a virtual machine, the hard disk location, wherever we select that virtual machine to place. While creating VM, we have selected this hard disk location. It will be inside the hard disk. If you see the image, it's in the ESXi machine, local hard disk. ESX machine on the hard disk, 1 terabyte hard disk. It will be inside this 1 terabyte hard disk. It will occupy 40 GB space. I mean, whatever the disk capacity that you have given. Okay, so here you can see only 3 files, but here you can see a lot of other files. They will be automatically created when you power on the virtual machine for the first time. This is VM45. Right click on it, power on. Go to summary tab, power on virtual machine completed just now. You can check its monitor. Here you can see web console, or right click, you can say this also. You can also click remote console or web console. It's waiting for operating system. OS is not yet installed. Forget about OS. We'll do that later. Okay, we just created a virtual machine and we are checking its monitor now. So now if you go to the same hard disk location again right click, browse files, VM45. See, all other files are automatically created. .log file, .vswp, vmx file, and lck. It's a log file. VM is powered on, it's locked. Okay. And all other files are created automatically. When you power on, automatically remaining files will be generated automatically. Fine. Any
BIOS
BIOS
ఇప్పుడు created after operating system.
on అయ్యేటప్పుడు VM పవర్ ఆన్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు ఆటోమేటిక్గా క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది. ఎన్విరామ్ హియర్ ఆటోమేటిక్గా వస్తుంది. So select vmware.log file. Download option is here only. Click on it. It will be downloaded and we can check. Pop-up is blocked. Again click on download. It will be downloaded. vmware.log file is down. Sorry, it's cancelled. Okay, so VMware.log file is downloaded, show in folder. Here is the log file. You can open with WordPad better. Notepad also you can open, but it will not be. It'll be in single line. So we'll open with WordPad. It will be easy. Yeah, MS Word or WordPad. It will be easy to read. Line by line will be there. It's a readable language only. This is the log file, how you collect and how you read the log. How to understand this log we will discuss during troubleshooting topic. అప్పటికి మనకి సబ్జెక్ట్ మీద ఒక గుడ్ ఐడియా ఉంటుంది. At that time you can understand. Okay, fine. Okay. Or else like to answer Venkat directly. So you don't like at what time it failed. Check the date and time, exact time. Go there and check what happened. Read the log above and below logs during that failure time. So here is the log file. You copy it and paste in Google. If you can't understand this line, copy and paste in Google. You will come to know clear explanation about that. We'll see that log analysis later. We are not that matured as of now about this subject, so to understand it. That's the way how you open it. Same way, if you want to open VMX, we need to download it again. This is VMX file. Open with Word document. It will be easy to read. See, some 50 to 60 lines of code. Okay, you can, if you know the computer hardware properly, you can each line you can understand better. Even from here we can understand few lines. If you see number of CPUs 2, memory size 4 GB, CPU speed, a few things we can understand even if you are first time. If you know like RAM, CPU, you can. So VM name 45.NV RAM. Okay, hardware version 13. So few things we can understand with some basics as of now we know. If you know the computer hardware properly, you'll come to know the full information. So this like 50, 60 lines of code, okay, is equal to physical motherboard. Physical motherboard, however it works, these lines will also equal to that one. Physical motherboard. Okay. We use the template one. Venkat, we will discuss all the 5 methods. In day-to-day job, template is preferred. We will discuss from next tomorrow. We'll see first method, then clone, then template. We'll discuss all the 5 methods of VM creation.